Hi guys, it's Leena. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making tofu. It's basically a scrambled version of it, and we're going to add a bunch of vegetables and make it taste super good. When you make tofu like this, it's really good to add into wraps or just eat it on the side, or either eat as a snack. Especially if you're vegetarian, it's a good protein option. So yeah, let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is grate our tofu. This is the Sunrise brand extra firm tofu. It's my favorite one. And we're gonna be making 2 of them. As usual, all instructions and ingredients will be in the description. I'm just gonna drain out the extra water and give it a rinse. I feel like tofu can have a bad rep because people think it's bland and stuff. It's just about the way that you cook it. This recipe I kind of learned from my grandma, the way she makes it. And then you start to have your own variations when you start to make stuff. You develop your own recipe. I like to add a lot of vegetables, but just cook them in a way that it makes it taste good. My grandma doesn't like to add too many vegetables. Basically all of my cooking, flavor-wise, takes after her. And then I just have my own adjustments that I make. This tofu tastes like pizza for some reason. Maybe it's the bell peppers that I add, but it tastes good. Doesn't taste like you're eating anything grassy or like weird, you know? How tofu has like that taste. But no, it's all good because we're gonna make our base strong, the masala, which is the onion tomato mix. It's crazy, from the time that I posted my first video, which was like in October, there was still like bright sunlight during that time. Now here it's December. It's rare that you get sun during the day, but when the sun does come out, I can't even explain how nice it feels to have sunlight. So our tofu is grated. We're just gonna put this off to the side. Over here I just have some carrots that I washed and peeled. The video that you see before this is cookie baking. I always like to have like a food video, you know, on hand to post, because this is just like everyday food that you make. It's nice to show that, you know. Finally done grating our carrots. Just gonna take these, put them off to the side. Over here I just have 1 yellow pepper, a red bell pepper, and 2 green bell peppers. You can add any variation. And then we just have like 2.5 tomatoes, depending on the size. You need typically 2 big tomatoes. Over here, 3 small onions, 1-inch piece of ginger, and a handful of garlic, and 3 green chilies. So we're just gonna start cutting all this stuff up. We're gonna start off with our bell peppers. I like to cut them very small when I add them into tofu. I have to show you guys my pizza recipe. The smell of bell peppers is reminding me of pizza. There's a bunch of different combination of vegetables you can add. You can add peas, you can add mixed vegetables, completely up to you. This is my favorite recipe. The carrots give it like a nice sweetness, and you get vegetables in, and bell peppers are just amazing in general. Look at our beautiful arrangement of peppers. I'm gonna put that off to the side and start with our onions. This is all the nice stuff that's gonna go into our tofu, so it's gonna taste good. Now that all of our prep is done, we can move on to the cooking process. You thought I could forget PPE? You're wrong. So we put our pot down, we're just gonna turn the stove on. Mix our spices in the meantime. Teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon of turmeric, a bit of red chili powder if you want, and a bit of this stuff. Add in our oil, cumin seeds, and our garlic. And we're gonna cook this until it's golden brown. throw in our ginger and just cook until translucent. Add in our onions and cook these until they're golden brown. Onions are in the process of browning. Onions are brown, we're just gonna add in our spices. Toss that around for a few seconds. Add in our tomatoes. We're gonna cook this for 3 to 4 minutes until they develop nice flavor. They become nice and sweet. Our tomatoes are cooking down at the moment. Tomato mixture has come together. It's nice and sweet. We're gonna add in our vegetables and bell pepper. Toss this together. We're gonna cook this on high heat with a lid for about 5 minutes, but being very careful, just stirring in between so it doesn't burn. That way the vegetables get a head start. Just like this. You wanna keep stirring it. These small details make a big difference because the vegetables are also gonna release their own water, but we don't want too much of that. This is what our vegetables look like when they're cooking down. Eventually they're gonna start sticking to the bottom, but that's okay. We're right beside our patila. Nothing's gonna happen. Our vegetables have released a lot of moisture, so we're just gonna cook this on high with an open lid until some of it evaporates. Then we're gonna add our tofu in. Excess moisture is gone. We're just gonna add in our tofu and give this a good toss. Turn it to low. A lot of this is done on high heat to make sure you get that proper texture. We're gonna move this to around medium. And I find tofu does burn pretty easily. Carefully cover it, keep checking it often, switching the heat to low if we need to. After a certain point, when it begins to cook, it'll not stick to the bottom as much anymore, and we could turn the heat higher. And check it again. Tofu is kind of absorbing, releasing the moisture. It's just when you cook it, you get a feel for it and like you understand what's happening and you adjust the heat accordingly. Now we turned it to high so it can heat through, carefully tossing it in between. So you can see it's like gonna stick to the bottom now. I'm gonna turn it down. Now steam will do its job to cook it. We're just gonna keep tossing in between. Right now it's cooking, but it's not sticking to the bottom. So we could turn the heat up a little bit. So the tofu is getting like nice and fluffy now. It's not gonna stick, we can just turn it to high. Gonna add in our final spices: red chili powder, some salt, black pepper, and garam masala, a handful of coriander leaves. The spices will also get a chance to cook into the food a little bit, get some nice flavor. We're just gonna turn this a bit down, give it a lid and let it cook for a few more minutes. We're gonna take off the lid, evaporate any remaining moisture that may be left on high heat, and yeah, our tofu is done. Evaporating the moisture makes it become like a nice scramble and you don't get that mushy texture. And it's done. We're just gonna take it off the stove, not cover it. We don't want it to release moisture again. A few times I just like to toss it when it's done cooking so that all the extra moisture can evaporate. You can prep any veggies of your choice for the wrap. I just have some onion, cucumber, and arugula. Just gonna toss the finished tofu to release any steam. This is just the final shot of the tofu. You can see it's like a scramble. It has nice color to it. You can see the vegetables. We're gonna go ahead and assemble our wrap. You could have any flatbread of your choice. I just have a roti here. You can have pita or tortilla, anything that you like. Add in some tofu, some arugula, onion if you'd like. You can add tomato as well, some sliced cucumber, a bit of sriracha, and a tiny bit of ketchup. You can eat this tofu any way that you like. You could have it with dal and eat this like sabji with roti. That's how we normally eat it. I just showed you the idea for the wrap today. So let's try it out. And that turned out really good. The tofu has such a nice flavor. It has natural sweetness from the vegetables that we added, like the carrots, the peppers, the tomato. At the same time, the garlic, the onion, it gave it a really good flavor. Turned out super fluffy, it wasn't mushy at all, so it became like a scramble. Very nutritious, you get a lot of vegetables in it. And when it comes to the cooking process, it's just the small details, like cooking the vegetables a little bit before you add in the tofu. Making sure you cook the onion and the garlic and the tomato as well. It's all just like detail. You'll learn it once you make it a few times. You'll be able to develop new flavors or add new things and stuff like that. It's actually a good recipe. I recommend it, not to be like, oh, look at me, a chef or something. No. It's just a home cooked food and it's good. You can make it really good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, thank you for watching.